Hey guys, it's hour 3. Parlay P. Which way do you want to go? Do you want to go NFL or do you want to go college?
I tell you what, it depends. Which one are we going to dive into first once I'm done doing both?
Let's go ahead and just finish up the NFL.
Let's kick off the NFL 6 then.
It's time for Parlay P. NFL 6-pack.
Yeah, so 5-1 last week. Very good. Obviously, the one game that stuck us, and I jinxed myself too by doing it. The one game that stuck us was the Falcons game because I took the over, and literally right before I gave that pick out, I said, hey, I typically don't like throwing Falcons games in, even though literally the last 2 weeks I have done just that for the for the first 3 weeks of the season now, including last week. I had done just that, but we were 2-0 on the Falcons games, even though I didn't pick them to win, but the first one. We're not going to continue that trend this week, so there's no Falcon pick from me. I will be at the game in London. Very excited about that. Obviously, Wembley Stadium, and just a cool experience. I think it's going to be a really cool experience. I've been wanting to do it for so long. I'm glad I have the opportunity to do it. But that doesn't mean shit. We're going to get to the 6. We're going to start off with maybe my favorite, and this is a lot of points to lay. We saw last week the teams that had double-digit odds, only one covered, and that was the Chiefs against the Bears, which, by the way, we gave that out. That was a very easy one. Dumpster fire, best team, best quarterback in the NFL, hadn't had a great offensive game all year. At home, yeah, they were going to cover that spread. I think the Arizona Cardinals, a team that hasn't played very bad, comes down and starts to actually fucking look bad. San Francisco is coming off of a Thursday night football game where they pretty much dominated the Giants. I see much of the same in this one. We're going to go ahead and take the San Francisco 49ers. Well, Arizona Cardinals at the San Francisco 49ers, minus 13.5 for the 49ers. I really like them to cover. Anyone that's been following the show for forever, but certainly even if you just started once we did our NFL preview and you're more so into the picks or whatever, yeah, 49ers are my Super Bowl prediction winner. That's who I've got winning it all this year, and I love them at minus 13.5 at home against the Cardinals. Next game, we get the Las Vegas Raiders at the LA Chargers. This game is going to be a Raiders home game, much like the 49ers when they went to the Rams. I expect there to be plenty of points to get scored here because there's going to be a lot of momentum on the Raiders side, and clearly McDaniels wants to throw the ball. They haven't really established the run all year. Over 48.5, I really like that number for the Raiders and Chargers, so we're going to stick with it. Next, we got the battle of the winless teams. This one is going to be similar to the Bills pick last week. We're just going to take the gimme. The Minnesota Vikings are going to beat the Carolina Panthers, so we're going to take the Vikings on the money line at Carolina. Not much to say. I just expect the Vikings to win. I just really don't see them doing the 0-4 with that amount of talent against that Panthers team. Next, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Houston Texans. Very interesting game to me, to be completely honest with you, because I don't think that the Steelers offense is anything like what we kind of saw against the Raiders. Kenny Pickett actually looked pretty good. Another team that we picked, by the way, plus 3.5. Easy money. I kind of wanted them on the money line, but look, we want to take the easy money. Steelers at Texans. I like under 42.5. I don't see the Texans scoring points the way that they have been because they're actually going against a good defense. I see this game being really rough, to be completely honest with you. So we're going to take under 42.5 Pittsburgh Steelers at Houston Texans. Next, we've got probably the game of the week. Certainly, I think that that's how many of us look at this. It's the game of the week. The Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. We absolutely expect this game to go under. Contrary to popular belief, both of these teams actually have good defenses. And 54 is actually a pretty fucking high number. And I could actually see them covering it, to be completely honest. But at the same time, I actually expect the defenses to more so show up. 27-24 is still under 54. The game's in Buffalo. I expect these teams to not be airing it out as much, and actually whoever has the running advantage is going to win. But that's why we're not going to pick a winner. I like under 54 in this game. I think that's a pretty high number. And then finally, we got our one dog this week. We got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Tennessee Titans. I fucking hate the Tennessee Titans. I think they suck, to be completely honest with you. But there's just nothing convincing about the Bengals to me whatsoever. I think that Joe Burrow is hurt, and I think that Mike Vrabel, like Bill Belichick, is somebody that's going to expose something when they see it. Give me the Titans on the money line. They're so Jekyll and Hyde anyways. They're still in that division. They're at home. Derrick Henry has yet to have a good game all year. Give me the Titans on the money line. This one just feels like the upset. And I think that they're going to be able to run the ball on them. You know, unlike the Rams, I think the Titans are going to be able to run the ball. So give me the Titans on the money line.
All right, so we got 49ers minus 13.5. Raiders and Chargers over 48.5. Vikings on the money line. Steelers at the Texans under 42.5. Dolphins at Bills under 54. Yeah. And giving us Titans on the money line.
Yeah, that's the dog of the week.
You like it. I love it. Let's talk some college ball.
Let's talk some college football. We got a hell of a college football six-pack. We were 500 last week. A lot of bullshit that went on, though. Notre Dame obviously losing on the very final play. Deterred us from getting that winning record. Just a lot going on. But we got the treat for that. We got a 6-0 week coming this week, right? So we'll get it kicked off with maybe the most obvious and the biggest spread that I have on here. We got Iowa State and the Fighting Matt Campbells headed to Norman to play Brent Venables and the Oklahoma Sooners. I like Oklahoma minus 20. I truly do expect Matt Campbell to more than likely, even though they probably shouldn't fire him, they probably will, if he's really on the hot seat like everybody wants to talk about. I just think that they're devoid of talent because of all the suspensions, and they haven't shown anything that tells me that Oklahoma is not going to run up the score. I like Oklahoma minus 20 at home. Next, we got a game that most people wouldn't look at or try to bet on, but this one to me is a gem, and it's pretty good value for the home team. We got South Alabama at James Madison. James Madison is one of the better, like, lower-tier schools, honestly. They're a very good football team. Lee, as a matter of fact, the last time you were here, we were watching some James Madison football, if you remember.
Yeah,
because I fucking took the over, and James Madison won, even though they were the dogs in that game, but I kind of knew that they were better than who they were playing. I think they're better than South Alabama, too. South Alabama had the upset win against Oklahoma State. They're not very good. Give me James Madison on the money line. Next, we got a little SEC ball. Florida at Kentucky. Florida is riding high because they're in the rankings. They're headed to face the younger Stute brother and a Kentucky team that hasn't been terrible or anything, but we just don't know too much about it. They're favored minus 1. And that's where we're going to go because I don't believe in fucking Florida. And I think that Billy Napier's ass is probably going to get fired at the end of this year. I think the Tennessee win was a big enough win, but this was one of those games that we talked about earlier in the year that I said, this is kind of a toss-up game, and this is not an easy game. It's not going to be a very easy game. And I think that that's why Vegas even has Kentucky as the favorite, because the thought would be, well, why don't you just take Florida? That seems like the easier pick, especially considering they're the dog in the matchup. I'm not falling for it. I like Kentucky to win the game. So give me Kentucky minus 1. Next, we got Kansas at Texas. Ranked matchup. Kansas is ranked. And, of course, over the past couple years, Kansas has fucking beat Texas. Sark has lost a football game to Kansas. He won't be losing this one, though. But Kansas's quarterback is fucking electric. He's actually really good. I'm kind of surprised that he went to Kansas. They have the over-under set at 60.5. I like the over. I expect there to be plenty of points getting scored in this game. Texas hadn't even really had that elite offensive output. I guess the Bama game was kind of a lot of points because we got the over in that and it went over. But Kansas is going to be able to move the ball on Texas, and I just like over 60.5 in a game like this. Next, we got Notre Dame at Duke, another ranked matchup. Interesting matchup because now we have to see how Notre Dame rebounds. And obviously we saw Duke beat the shit out of Dabo at home. So why can't he do the same to Sam Hartman, right? And Coach Freeman, right? I like Notre Dame to bounce back. I think that obviously their season's on the line in a game like this, and they've got pretty solid odds considering they're at home. And I'm not drinking the Duke Kool-Aid too much because I think Clemson's just not a very good team. So there's my logic for anyone that wondered. I like Notre Dame on the money line at Duke. And then our final game of the week, we got the number 1 Georgia Bulldogs headed to Auburn. And I believe that this one is called Good Old-Fashioned Hate, if I remember correctly from my college football knowledge of playing the video games whenever I would be Georgia in my dynasty mode. I like Georgia at Auburn. I like Georgia to cover the 13.5. Again, Kirby, similarly to a team like, there's so many different teams that haven't played up to their potential yet, and Georgia's one of them. I think 2 touchdowns is a little light for Georgia in reality. Auburn really struggled to beat Cal. Cal was one of the worst FCS schools. I think that this is the get-right game for Georgia where they flex their muscle and say, no, we are still here, and we are still going to be the number 1 team in the country when this thing is all said and done. Give me Georgia minus 13.5 at Auburn.
All right, so we got Oklahoma minus 20. James Madison on the money line. Kentucky minus 1. Kansas at Texas over 60.5 points. Notre Dame on the money line. And UGA minus 13.5.
That's beautiful.
You guys know what it's time for.
Lead 3. Lead 3. Lead 3.
Oh, man, this was a hard week for me, man. I couldn't – getting down to 3 was hard because I had 4 bets that I really liked. And having to do it right now in front of you live is even that much more difficult. I went 1-2 last week. Rough week for us, but guess what?
First losing week, though.
First losing week.
Money. You were undefeated the first 3 weeks.
It
was nothing but college week 1.
Yep.
You went undefeated week 2 with college NFL, and you went undefeated week 3, I believe.
Yeah, I got it.
Week 2 of the NFL.
I was 8-1.
2-1.
Yeah, I was 8-1 overall,
and then
I went 1-2.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, we're still 9-3. If you know anything about math, that's pretty good. Okay, guys.
I think so.
So let me see if we can.
We're looking at the NFL watch too, but it's not about me. It's about you. It's Leagues 3. Let's go.
Hey, let's get back. Let's get this winning train back going. We got the Vikings on the money line. Got to get me a good one.
That's cash money.
I like that Steelers at Texans under 42.5. I think that Steelers defense frustrates CJ Stroud in a way where he doesn't get going like we expect him to. And the Steelers offense just isn't good. So where do the points come from? TJ Watt has 2 touchdowns, maybe.
I love it.
But I bet you TJ Watt has more touchdowns. Excuse me. I bet TJ Watt will get closer to 2 touchdowns than Kenny Pickett will throwing. Just putting that out there for you guys. I don't think he gets 2, but I think he has a better chance of getting 2 than Kenny Pickett does throwing the ball.
Okay, I think that's fair.
How I feel about that offense. And then lastly, man, Notre Dame burned me last week, losing on the last play of the game. So as much as I want to pick them this week, and as much as I think that it's going to be a sure winner, give me UGA minus 13.5.
There we go, baby. Go with them dogs.
I'm drinking that hometown Kool-Aid.
Well, and doesn't it feel like Georgia has to put together a really complete performance for the first time all year? They haven't done it all year. They have not had a 1 to 4 quarters game of excellence, and that includes against these bullshit schools that they play. Like, they have not put it together for first quarter to fourth. I just expect Kirby to do it against arguably our biggest – they're certainly our biggest SEC West rival.
Yeah, I think Kirby puts it together. I think we look like the number 1 team in the nation, and Hugh Freeze goes And Hugh Freeze, he's just cold sitting in the office watching film on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
All right, guys. What are we gonna do? We're gonna preview this week in the NFL, right?
Yeah, talk a little ball and close it out with a little college football.
All right, man. Let me get the schedule up real quick. I'm just gonna go down the line. Do we care about the game tomorrow? Lions, Packers. Both are.
I do. I think that game is going to clearly determine early in the year, who's got the edge for the division, because it's going to be out of those two. I don't think Minnesota's going to make a run. I think that they dug themselves in too much big of a hole. And remember, they have a first-place schedule. So, they have to play Dallas. Oh, no, I'm sorry. They already play Philly. They have to play our division, which they lost to Tampa. They have to play New Orleans. They got to play us. They have to come here.
Jay Jettas and AJ Terrell.
They haven't played the 49ers yet. They have to play the 49ers, bro. I think that their hole is too big to start already. So to me, this is kind of a who gets the early edge in the division type thing.
Yeah, so I'll actually be watching that with audio because I won't be recording. So I get to listen to Kirk Herbstreit, not know much about the NFL, and Al Michaels just
fucking hate that crew. God. Why do you hate Kurt Herb? I know I'm with you on the Kurt Herbstreit thing. He shouldn't be calling NFL. Why do you hate Al? I just don't understand why you hate Al so fucking much.
I told you the stench of college.
Actually, just every other week, but why?
It's the stench of Collinsworth, but I also think it is now as I think about it, because I've been giving this some thought. Because what you guys may not know is I really care about announcing crews. I've made my wife so in tune with it. My wife hates the 3-man box. She goes, they're just they don't say it. Each person doesn't say enough, and it feels like the third person is forced to talk. I said, yeah, that's why we don't like the 3-man box. She hates the second Monday night crew, the Louis Riddick, Danny O crew. We were listening to.
When I hear Ballard, go ahead. I'm sorry.
We were watching the game in the car on the way back from Cartersville on Monday, and she's like, "You want to listen to some music? This is kind of boring. You don't want to fall asleep driving back, do you?" And I'm like, "Good idea. That's why I married you. You have the good ideas around here."
All right. When I hear Fowler calling a game, it's kind of okay, it's not college football, but let me just, I guess, visualize the pros with him talking. So it just throws me off when I hear him. And Louis Riddick is more made for TV analysts than game calling. And I think Orlovski, honestly, of the three, he brings a little bit more insight just because of his playing career. I know Louis Riddick played in the NFL too, but from him at least, I get a little bit of insight. But
Parlay P, gun to your head, where'd you rather eat at? Applebee's, Outback, or Red Lobster? That's what we're talking about right now.
Did somebody ask that as a question? I'm just curious.
I'm just saying that's what the Fowler, Danny O, and Riddick and Riddick box is, man. It's
hey man, you can go ahead and put me 6 feet under then. Nah. Dead serious. You said Outback,
Applebee's, or Red Lobster?
Outback. I don't even have to think twice about it. Out of those three, Outback.
All right, so Danny O's the answer.
All right, yeah.
Then we got
they're the ones calling the fucking London game,
and it's on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, they're the ones calling it. Yeah, because they said it on Monday night. I heard it. Good thing I ain't got to fucking hear it. But then again, I get to hear a motherfucker over the mic be like, and it's gonna be 4th down. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
Have a high tea.
And
This is American football. We don't call this real football.
And he's like, and the players are coming on to the pitch. It's just you motherfucker. They're at the 50-yard line of the pitch.
Hold on. This is the clip. I gotta write this down.
Is it?
Yeah. This whole that's a pitch. I mean, it's a clip. Got me saying pitch.
The pitch.
I gotta resubscribe to ESPN Plus to watch this game.
They're like, and Bijan Robinson. He's like, and he runs it through. Like, he's like, it won't be a touchdown, but they won't say goal, but they'll just be like,
score.
Zone. Like,
the score.
Right,
So we got that game at 9:30 a.m. East Coast for us guys. Sorry for you, Josh Holsey. I'm sure you'll be hungover, so you're not gonna wake up to watch.
He'll be like, he's like, I don't want to watch the fucking Falcons anyway. That's what he'll say.
Then we got we got Patriots Cowboys. I think the Cowboys bounce back, but Dak struggles, but they're just more talented.
Yeah, and a lot of people have been talking about Gonzalez. Everybody talks about how well Jalen Carter has looked with the Eagles, which he has. He's looked every bit to what we thought he was going to be. But, like, Gonzalez apparently is having quietly, like, shut down corner type shit through 3 games.
I mean, Tyreek Hill wasn't happy playing against him.
Yeah, I was going to say, he didn't really have that good of a game again. That was the one down game he has had. He scored still, but,
and we talked about it in the picks. Game of the week, 1 o'clock window, Dolphins and Bills, CBS. Thank God I'm on the East Coast so I get this game. And if I don't, I'll go to Buffalo Wild Wings or Applebee's.
I am going to be so curious if there's going to be pubs that I can watch after the game. Like, are they going to have football on it? Like, because I don't fucking know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've been to London once, but, like, I was only there maybe half a day because we just went somewhere else. But, like, I'm very curious as to – so, I mean, they're bringing games over here. Am I going to be able to watch? Because I got to go to the airport, but, like, am I going to be able to watch at least some of the – similar to last week, can I watch some of the game and then leave? Like what's going to be on TV?
Well, hopefully it's not Broncos Bears.
Certainly the Broncos. You remember Russ had that game last year out there, I think it was last year. Russ played out there, so maybe they're big Broncos fans. I don't know. I know that the Jaguars are going to have home field advantage because they play.
Oh, yeah, because they're the team. They're the UK Jaguars.
Yeah.
We got Ravens Browns. That's going to be another good one. With good old JR would call a slobber knocker. Good physical football. I think with the injuries to Baltimore, I wouldn't be shocked if Cleveland pulls this one out and goes 3-1.
Me neither. Tough game. I wanted to stay away from it because I have fantasy implications in it too. So I obviously want Deshaun Watson to play well, but like at the same time, the Ravens clearly look pretty rough. And look, there's no shot at Gardner Minshew. You guys lost at home to Gardner Minshew. No Jonathan Taylor.
Hey. I'd take Gardner Minshew on our roster yesterday.
Me too, but like Michael Pittman didn't go off. It wasn't like somebody went off. I mean, you guys just lost the game. So it's kind of like, well, even without Nick Chubb, the Browns offensively can move the football. They've got good enough play calling. I don't know. Yeah, I can see the Browns winning the game. They're favored, by the way. They are favored. So, I mean.
Steelers, Texans, old school football. I think the Steelers win the game. But
running the ball. I look for them to reestablish Najee because he hasn't had a good game either all year.
Vikings, Panthers. We've kind of discussed how we feel about this game in the pick, so nothing left here. Rams, Colts, AR-15 is back.
Interesting if they can pull it out.
Rams coming east. Wouldn't be shocked if the Colts win that game.
And go to 3-1, and Anthony Richardson starts making noise, even with C.J. Stroud, and you start talking about, well, maybe this guy's really the rookie of the year. Maybe what you want to know what would be so nuts if they win the game and he plays well. He makes us look like he makes a lot of people look like it. The people that were down on him,
yeah,
because I'm one of them. As was I. I don't know if I didn't necessarily say he'd be super bust. I just didn't expect him to throw the ball as well as he has. And so
he was not a great college quarterback. He just had great skills. But maybe
he's very much so, if he can play the way he keeps playing as a rookie, he very much so is kind of following the Josh Allen type trend. Like
maybe Billy Napier just can't coach.
That could be it too. And I think that Kentucky's going to prove that in our picks. So.
We got Bucs Saints. That matters a lot to us because we care about who wins that game because we're Falcons fans. That's the NFC South. I want the Bucs to win that game.
I do too because we play them sooner, and
I want the Saints to
stroke their ego if Jameis Winston was able to beat his former team and they go 3-1 with the backup and can say if Derek Carr didn't get hurt, we'd be undefeated still. Like,
yeah,
I would rather. I think that the Saints are more formidable overall than the Bucs. I mean, I don't have to lie about it, but like, I'm with you. I would prefer to see the Bucs win this game.
Commanders Eagles. I think the Eagles find their footing.
I think they wipe the shit out of them.
And I think Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts looks like the Jalen Hurts we expect him to look like for the first time this year. Golly, another snooze fest game. Bengals Titans. I mean, we talked about it in the picks. I have no interest in watching this game. It's kind of my answer there. I don't know if you have anything else to add. Root for T. Higgins.
Of course you are. He's been kind of bad.
He's done enough. I beat our
Parlay Pete's about to hit a big parlay though, and so we feel really. I'm 3 out the way. Let me not speak too soon, but my team's got a 4-run lead in the bottom of the ninth. So,
Raiders Chargers battle of first coach fired.
Do you think McDaniels gets fired?
I don't think he does, but I think he should.
I think it's going to be the battle of who makes the first fourth down mistake more than anything.
Well, Brandon Staley, easy.
Yeah, well, he would be probably about minus 350.
Who makes the most costly fourth down mistake is a better question.
Yes. Yeah, well, we know who's going to go for it more. But could you see in a world where Josh McDaniels is fourth and goal on the 6 and it's 2:10 left and he kicks a field goal Dan Quinn style against the 49ers and then is like, well, I trusted the defense to come out because, you know, I knew that the Chargers would maybe want to go for it on fourth down deep in their territory, and then that would set us up to win the game.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be perfect football? Like
I don't even think it has to be like 2 minutes. I say like 4 or 5 minutes, and they just bleed the clock, and he gets the ball back with 4 seconds left.
Yeah, and expects him to hit Devontae Adams to where Daniel Carlson can attempt a 63, 67, 68-yard field goal or something, right? Like,
yeah, the Jimmy G throws the pick.
Immediately.
You know, I heard some decent Jimmy G analysis, but at the same time, it's a little biased because it came from Michael Lombardi, whose son is the OC for the Raiders. He was talking about, he goes, you know, this system is totally different from what Jimmy has done over the last 6 years. Yes, he knows the system. He's played in it before. But in the 49ers system, Kyle kind of does everything for you, and then you just run the play.
Yeah.
In the in this Patriots Josh McDaniels system with the Raiders, the quarterback has to make the checks. The quarterback has to, you know, get the line set up. He has to, you know, call out of a lot of plays. Like the quarterback does everything, and Jimmy hasn't done that. So maybe Jimmy G is struggling from the Justin Fields robotic because I'm thinking and I'm not just playing.
I think they're just so dysfunctional as a whole. I think that there's that pressure too. It's not just coaching. I think there's just organizationally, I'm trying to call out your bad takes already, but like you did pick them to win the division. And so like there are plenty of people that had high expectations for that team. My thought was I just haven't seen anything from them.
I had some bad takes this offseason.
And I've seen DJ Moore as a number one receiver somewhere else, and they didn't win shit. So, like, it's not like he's Devontae Adams or something. They didn't add this ridiculously skilled type of player. So, like, for me, their defense, it's not like their defense is fucking just good either. Like, there was nothing for me on them. I just think that everything is collapsing, and I think that Ryan Poles, right? Poles or Poles.
We're not talking about the Bears. We're talking about
You said Justin Fields.
No, did I say Justin Fields? No, I said Jimmy Garoppolo is struggling from the Justin Fields syndrome.
Of
thinking not playing. Yeah, I'm not talking about the Bears.
Oh, we got to that game. But
no, we skipped that one.
No, I don't think that there's pressure though, low key.
Okay.
No, like what pressure? The Raiders, where were they? I mean,
no, I'm just saying pressure. The pressure of trying to run the offense. It's not a brand new offense, but it's a style of offense that you haven't ran. So you're thinking more than you're just playing, because it's not. When they do this, I do that.
I think that there's shit going on in that organization too. I mean, Chandler Jones is randomly getting put on the IR, and he's like, I'm not saying it's not that big of a distraction, but it's just kind of like they were gonna get rung up by the Bills when they went to Buffalo. That was a game we kind of all saw them getting beat like that. They shockingly beat the Broncos, but that's a dumpster fire. And then they play Pittsburgh, who's just a much more physical team than them. Like, I don't know if Jimmy G's suffering from what Justin Fields is suffering from, though.
Chiefs, Jets. I'm surprised you throw this in the picks. Chiefs.
So I was going to do it. Something tells me that the Jets defense is going to play well enough to where I didn't want to touch the 9.5. 9.5, when you think about it, now look, they could win by exactly 10. That's a lot of fucking points to be giving a team on the road against a team that defensively at least is still really good. And the Chiefs have only shown us 1 week of good offense, and that was against the dumpster fire Bears at home. So, like, that's why I didn't want to touch it, honestly. But I tell you what, that would have been one of those games where you take a prop on the Jets points if they had them at like 16.5, to where you just take the under on the Jets point. Like, the Jets won't score 17 points.
All right, in our last game. Oh God, that's a Sunday night game too. Jeez.
I know. Flex scheduling. They can do 2 of them beginning next week. Week 5 through 10, they get 2 chances to flex out games, and then of course the normal flexing out would normally be. But they can only do 2 between week 5 and week 10.
All right, so our Monday night game. One Monday night game, thank God. Seahawks, Giants. I picked up the Seahawks defense in fantasy, so that lets you know how I feel about what's going to happen on Sunday. The Giants.
You can bring a little bit of dramatics to our matchup too, because if the game is close, let's say I'm up. Let's say it's like a 12-point game. It gets really interesting. But yes, hey, what's up with New York getting these back-to-back primetime games?
The New York market, man. The New York fans watch the bad teams.
We're in week 4, and the shit's happened twice to where they rotate it now Monday and Sunday night game. I don't like that. But oh, by the way, fun fact about that Chiefs game: it's Patrick Mahomes' first game in New York City.
Really?
Well, yeah, it's him on Broadway, right? Well, technically the New Jersey Turnpike or something, but who cares, right? Same thing.
All right, yeah, that's the Sunday. That's the Sunday slate. You want to get to some college football talk real quick before we get out of here?
Let's run it down.
All right, man. We talked a little bit about it earlier with Dan Lanning and his halftime speech, his pregame antics. Colorado finally loses a game, and they get the shit kicked out of them by a much better team, a much better
superior to them. Yeah,
a much better school. And now Prime is playing. It's us against the world, everybody against Colorado. I do think there are those out there who are happy to see them lose, happy to see them get their ass kicked. But I will say that, man, in the post game, what Prime had to say, what Shador had to say, they said exactly what you should say when you get the shit kicked out of you. And Prime said, "Hey man, it won't be this bad ever again. It won't get me this year. I'm coming back next year." I like that bravado. I like that talk. I like Dan Lanning talking his shit. But I take issue with a few things that Dan Lanning said, obviously. And this is not even me being a prime defender. For one, he said, when asked about Colorado leaving the conference, well, what have they done? Dan Lanning, Oregon has not won a national championship in my lifetime.
Well, that and then what have you done, though?
I don't think
Georgia. I mean, look, and we expected Georgia to beat the shit out of them, but I watched you guys as any chance of going to the national championship. Go as soon as you got there.
yeah. Against your former team, you knew the call.
You knew the personnel and the fucking what they were doing. You knew exactly what they were doing, and you couldn't do anything about it. And you have talented guys on your end too. It's not like you did. It's not like he was coaching at Colorado playing Georgia, right?
But yeah, Colorado finally gets beat badly. I think some of the media hype dies down, but if people keep watching the games at the rate that they are, keep giving these NFL style ratings, because Prime has brought in non-college football watching people, we're still going to be talking about Colorado. Rating sell. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, if you're making money, if you're getting people to watch the game, you're getting people to the box office, guess what? We're going to talk about you because you're interesting.
Yeah. And just back to the Colorado point in general with them, Dion, he's got the me against the world thing. Vegas opened up. You know what the line opened up for the USC game? After their game was over, what it opened up at?
21.5.
That's what it's at right now. That shit opened at 28. And yeah, and see, now that would have been in my picks to be, and I feel like Colorado low-key's going to cover, but like, I've been dead wrong. Outside of the Nebraska game, I've been dead wrong on both ends of the spectrum, so I'm not touching it. If it was 28, I would have touched it. I would have bought a half a point and touched it because I was like, no way they fucking lose by more than 4 touchdowns. Especially because USC barely beat Arizona State, and Arizona State's not better than Colorado. So
USC doesn't play defense.
Exactly, and they don't have a defense. And it's not like Colorado can score. I mean, they didn't do it last week, but they can score on that defense. And so
hey, I'll tell you one thing I liked about watching that game.
The Colorado game.
Yeah, the Colorado game and the commentary coming behind it. Shedeur didn't get blasted for playing so terribly.
Yeah.
But from watching it, wasn't much he could do.
He hung in there more than anything. If that was the one takeaway, I did see a little bit of it at the airport. He did hang in there, like just physically and just doing what he could do, knowing his top option's not out there. And then like
nobody was open. He didn't have time.
Yeah.
What do you expect him to do? Hey, Shedeur.
Look like Michael Vick.
We got a nice locker for you in Atlanta, so you can start where your dad started. Because that damn Desmond Ridder.
Give him the number 12.
I mean.
So we can get 21 backwards.
Yeah, I mean, you can't wear 2. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, well, he can't wear 2. And, yeah, just take 12. I mean, just do the reverse of your dad. Your offensive player.
I mean, who else wore 12 for us? Michael Jenkins?
Him, Chris Chandler was number 12.
That black and those gray
pants. Is Kadero Hodge 12 or is he 15?
Who cares?
I know, right? In reality.
But we got Colorado USC coming up. You didn't want to put the pick out, but you could see Colorado covering that spread just because we don't think USC plays defense.
I would lean towards Colorado covering 21.5. Yeah. I would lean towards it. Wouldn't surprise me if USC covered it, but I would lean towards it. Really, 24.5 is a great, like, if you alt it, I would alt it for sure there. I just really don't see them getting beat down like that again. Not back-to-back weeks and not at home. Like, I just don't see it.
So you also leaned into something last week. You leaned into Mike Norvell.
They won, by the way. They covered. They won the game, money line dogs.
And, you know, Dabo lost his second game in September. Parlay Pete, the floor is yours.
Well, it's a good thing that Florida State did win the game because there was nothing to fucking apologize about. I should have set that up a little bit better. I should have pulled a Conor McGregor, and I'd like to say something. He's like, I'd like to apologize to absolutely fucking nobody because I don't have anyone to apologize to. Dabo is who we thought he was. I didn't even actually see it live, but obviously I know what happened at the end of the game in overtime and just kind of the way that went. And apparently Clemson was up a majority of the game, but like
pretty much the whole game until the end when Florida State tied it up.
You know, RIP to Clemson as a program. The Duke game was really, the funeral, but like I think that the Florida State game, what do you call it after a funeral, Lee? It's not a recession, or I guess it's the recession.
Repass? When you go eat?
Yep. That's what we got to see with that game because Clemson's not going to go undefeated the rest of the season either. So that would tell me that they're not going to get to double-digit wins. And Dabo doesn't want to use the portal, and Dabo doesn't want to pay the players. So that was the repass, guys. Like, we all got to eat off of it if you bet on it, and that's it. We can think about it. We'll be like, man, you remember this, the good times, this, that, and the third, and we'd be like, yeah. And then we have to get back to reality that person's no longer here anymore, and that's Clemson's program. They're not here anymore. It's over with. Cristobal is going to end up getting Miami back to where they're more relevant than what the fuck's going on in Clemson. Because I'm not trying to be funny. Would you rather hang out in Coral Gables or in Clemson?
Coral Gables.
Okay, me too. And I'm not even a Miami fan, like the city of Miami. I'm not even a big fan of going down there like that. But, yeah, I'd much rather hang out there than in Clemson. And, there's more money down there. Like, I don't know. Like,
the women look better down there.
The women look better. Yeah, let's start. These are obvious choices. Hey, who's got a richer history?
I go with the University of Miami.
Okay.
Stronger alumni base.
Well, and I'm sure that obviously Prime can get Warren Sapp and these guys in there, but Michael Irvin, Jimmy John. I mean, there's so much history there.
Better education too, by the way.
Greg Olson. I mean, yeah. Miami's a really good school. That's a really good school.
Real fun school.
Yeah. It was a school that I looked at, actually, crazy enough. I didn't apply. I didn't end up applying, but my scores weren't there.
Man, let me tell you what. Dabo the dipshit. Dabo the dummy. Dabo the dumbass. Doopy ass Dabo doing Dabo dumb shit.
Yeah.
And you got defeated, Dabo. Damn.
Tough break, nigga.
Another legendary coach who not viewed as highly as he once was anymore has some things to say this week on I believe his podcast. And I think it rates some conversation here, Herb. Good old,
do you have a clip for us?
I don't even have a clip for you today.
Okay.
I
haven't seen it.
I just got the quote.
Oh, no. Well, yeah, I saw the quote. Yeah. Okay.
Look at the team up in Ann Arbor. Can't even call them Michigan. The team up in Ann Arbor. You shouldn't be allowed to play that schedule. Georgia's playing a schedule that you're supposed to be penalized for. and they're not. Hey, Herb, I got you, man. I hear you. I think Georgia's playing a pretty soft schedule. I don't think Michigan's playing the toughest schedule. But these are the breaks. Georgia's schedule OU, but then after OU decided to come to the Grand Ole SEC, the game comes off the books because you don't have the home and away and the money and all of that stuff. You work for Fox. You've been a coach at major programs. You understand that money drives everything around college sports, especially as long as you don't have to pay the players from the revenue you bring in. And so, yeah, that game comes off the books. We replaced it with UAB. Here's the thing, big dog. These out-of-conference games are scheduled so far in advance that you can't just find a formidable opponent when you lose somebody. Auburn used to be good, so you go, oh yeah, we got Auburn, we got Ole Miss,
Florida.
we got Florida. Yeah, they used to be good. You go, hey, we got a tough conference schedule. We scheduled a tough out of conference game.
And we've done it every year.
Yeah, we played Oregon.
We played Oregon. We played Clemson twice.
We played Notre Dame.
Played Notre Dame twice. That's been Georgia. Georgia has played one of these teams every year.
We played.
North Carolina wasn't the toughest competition. That was Kirby's first game. But hey, at least we scheduled an out of conference top Power 5 school that wins 6, 7, 8 games. Like we're not playing Middle Tennessee and UT Martin and Jacksonville State every year. Like those aren't the only teams we're playing.
And you know what, man? We scheduled Kellen Moore and Boise State back when they were kicking ass, right?
And we got our ass kicked that game.
And
that was the game we tailgated, correct?
No, you tailgated. I didn't.
Okay, LSU was the one that we were at.
Yeah,
gotcha.
And even with Michigan, they still got to play Penn State. They still got to play Ohio State. Those are the games that matter. So no matter what you do on the front end, if you don't win those games, you're gonna get penalized. Especially if you get the doors blown off of you. I get it, Urban. You want to take shots at the team up north in Michigan. That's fine. Do what you do. But what they be saying, keep my name out your mouth.
Yeah.
Hey, Urban, keep Georgia's name out your mouth until you're ready to come back to the SEC and run it. I don't want to hear what you got to say. And I'm sure you're going to come back to coaching and you might find yourself in the SEC. You'll win some games.
I think that that's the direction it's headed. But that's just my opinion.
I also know, Urban, when the going gets tough, Urban gets going. It'll be your health. It'll be your family. It'll be this, that, and the third. All those things could very well be true, Urban. I'm not saying that you weren't dealing with health issues because I've heard from multiple places that you were. I'm sure you neglected the hell out of your family because it's hard to be a college football coach at any level. Recruiting.
Yeah.
Spending time crunching film, preparing games, winning games. It's hard to be there for your family. But what's your next excuse, Urban? I know you're a great coach. I respect the games that you've won. But we saw Jacksonville. We saw your little puff piece you did on Netflix that didn't really tell the story about all the stuff that you just let go in your program, which, again, is fine for me. I'm no moralist. But don't paint yourself out here as like Tim Tebow-esque when you're closer to Aaron Hernandez and Tim Tebow.
These are all very fair points. I think that, there's somebody that we don't hear enough from. And it's funny, actually, because I guess he coached, at Florida too. why don't we hear from the old head ball coach as much as guys like Urban? Like what? And I get it, Herb's on TV, but it's like a guy like Steve Spurrier. He kind of just like, I don't know, went off in the sunset, I guess. But a guy like Herb can come out and look, Herb's track record speaks for itself, right? 3-time national champ. He won at Florida and Ohio State. So, I mean, he's won at multiple schools, multiple national championships.
Utah undefeated.
But the last thing we remember Urban Meyer doing, is kicking his kicker and telling him to make his kicks dipshit and fucking getting ran out of the NFL. So many people. Do you think that a guy like Herb is doing, and obviously a huge Kanye fan, do you think he's doing something similar to Kanye when Kanye kind of is getting ready to drop an album? Yeah. Like the leaks that just have randomly happened, and then there's a report, but it's like an album rollout. Do you think that this is Herb getting his rollout to come back to coach?
Absolutely.
That he's going on a smear campaign. He's basically talking shit to programs that he hopes that he gets another opportunity at, saying that, well, if I was doing it, I'd be scheduling these motherfuckers, essentially, is what he was saying.
Yeah, until you miss the playoff. Well, with a 12 team, it doesn't even matter. But yeah, I think that's exactly what Urban's doing. As soon as I finished the Florida documentary, I said, oh, Urban's trying to clean up his image so he can get back to coaching. Herb is saying great things about Deion Sanders and what they're doing over there, Coach Prime, because he's trying to clean up his image. Herb is on TV because he's trying to clean up his image. Because if he wasn't worried about his image, he would sit back, collect his checks, and then find a coaching job. Herb's trying to land a Power 5 job in a major conference, the SEC. Maybe back to his old stomping grounds in Gainesville.
That's where I think he's headed.
And he wants to go somewhere where he can utilize the portal, NIL, and his recruiting, because Herb can recruit with the best of them, to be back to 10 wins in 1 year, in year one. Herb's not into like a real rebuild where he has to go like 7-6 and then show something the next year. Herb's trying to get back 10 games, 11 games, right outside the playoff, or maybe in that 12-teamer.
Right, because now it sets up too to where there's more opportunity with obviously with the expanded playoffs, to where he can go to a school and in year one they maybe barely make it or they barely sit out, and then by year two he's already in. So that creates another extension, job opportunity. More people want to be like, oh, Urban's back or whatever. And a team like Georgia, look, it's a pipe dream for us. In reality, Georgia can't win the national championship. No, they can't win every fucking year. Alabama can't win every year. Like, even in Alabama's reign, like, they didn't win every year either. So, like, it's really hard to do that in any sport. I mean, unless you're a basketball historian and you like talking about the Celtics and why Bill Russell's the greatest player ever, you're going to be hard-pressed finding anyone. You're going to be hard-pressed finding anyone in history of any sport winning every year. I guess UCLA's men did it too, low-key. But that's basketball too, by the way. So football is a little bit different. There's a much more parity in football than basketball.
Absolutely, man. Herb, I want to hear you bash other schools when you're back on the sideline. Until then, give us that good old 11 a.m. analysis and call it a day, man. Two more things before we get out of here, and these should be quick. Are you concerned about Alabama?
What do you mean? For this season or in general?
Yeah, no, for this season. They had a good first half, bad second half. Excuse me, a bad first half, a good second half. And, Saban did what Saban does.
From a concern standpoint of, are they national title contenders? Yeah. Like, they're not national title contenders. But are they going to get worn out in a game similar to kind of what happened against Texas?
Maybe.
I don't see the game on their schedule. Maybe let me look at it real quick, actually.
Only way I see them getting worn out is if they beat A&M, they beat LSU, and we see them in the SEC championship. That's the only.
Yeah, that's the wear out game. But the way that Georgia has looked,
I'm only saying it from the fact that we have
to win, and that game could just be ugly. Like, and I'm not saying it would look like this, but think of the Super Bowl when the Patriots and Rams played, and it was 13-3. The game was ugly as fuck. But like the Rams. The Patriots kind of dominated the game, but it was just an ugly game. Yes, that would be the game where it could get ugly, but like they're at Miss State. I expect them to win. At Texas A&M, they lost to Texas A&M last year, right?
They're going to get their get back.
They'll get their get back. They're going to beat Arkansas. I don't think that's a trip up. Tennessee, I thought would have been interesting, but because of the way that Auburn kind of always gives them a game anyways.
Yeah.
No matter how good or bad they are. LSU is kind of a get-back game too, and it's at home. So, like, no, I don't see them. I see them going into the SEC championship game and everybody being like, he could really right the whole ship if they just win this game.
Yep.
And then, like, they just don't.
That's fair. He still gets a New Year's Six because of Saban. Last thing, man. Ryan Day versus Lou Holtz.
Oh my goodness.
Ryan
Day sounds like such a pussy. Like when he did that shit after the game, because I was at the bar. Shout out to Brian Jordan, by the way. Really good conversation with him. Obviously, former Brave, former Falcon. Great dude, honestly. He was a really good dude. I really enjoyed talking with him. But when he was there, we were at the bar in the MGM in Detroit watching that game, and we heard like Ryan Day, when he did what he did at the end of the game. See, I wasn't aware of what Lou Holtz had said either, and Lou Holtz didn't really say anything.
No, he just said, "Hey, when they play against physical teams, they lose. They're not physical."
Which is true. If you look at the history, you're like, okay, last year, who did they lose to? You're like, well, Georgia's more physical. Michigan's more physical. Who they lose to the year before? Michigan's more physical. Like, they do lose those games typically.
Yes, I thought it was some astute analysis, and he didn't like it. He took it personally, maybe because it's another coach. Maybe it's a coach who's won a national championship. I don't know. And hey, guys, you won the game on the last play of the game. I don't think when you squeak out of Notre Dame, that's the time
to beat your chest.
No, it's not the time to beat your chest, man. And Lou Holtz fired back and said he thought Notre Dame was still the better team. Well, Lou, you lost a game, so some could agree with you, but it doesn't matter because it didn't manifest itself on the field. But Ryan Day, here's what I need for you to do. I need for you to win a natty before, to maintain this bravado.
Well, considering that this was a guy that was, let's keep it 100. They lose that game. This was a guy where we start to see some smoke coming from up under his seat, and then we're like, hold on. They're like, your seat's not hot, is it? Like, I didn't turn the seat warmer on. Are you okay? I see steam coming from up under there.
And he still got to beat Penn State. And he still has to beat Michigan. And there's no guarantee he wins those games. And Jim Harbaugh said it years back about being born on third base. Ryan Day was gifted a program that was hitting on all cylinders. And as much as I just talk shit about Herb, if Herb doesn't leave, Ohio State has one or two more national championships. You know what? If Herb is coaching Ohio State in that semifinal game against Georgia, as close as that game was, Herb's kicker probably makes that kick because he doesn't want to get his ass kicked when he gets back to the locker room.
Yeah.
Herb's teeing off.
Isn't that one of the – I know we talked about another really good quote. I guess it was Parcells, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that another great quote? Harbaugh just saying some guys are born on third base and swear they hit a triple. Like – and it's so shady. Like – because it's like obviously you knew who he was talking about, but like it encapsulates it perfectly though too. In reality, it's like, in a weird way, I don't remember Florida State being really bad, but think about it. Jimbo kind of was in a similar position at Florida State. Now, Jimbo had credibility coming to Florida State, obviously being LSU's OC with, Nick or whatever. But he was another guy, which it's kind of showing a little bit more now than anything, that, oh, shit, you kind of went to Florida State and you just, he got his national championship, which is the difference.
Yeah.
But ever since that national championship, you look like Jameis Winston really was a lot of your success. I mean, they were a talented team. Devontae Freeman, Kelvin Benjamin, Joyner, Cook, Dalvin Cook. Wasn't Dalvin Cook the backup on the team? Was he there? No, he wasn't the freshman. I think Dalvin came after Freeman left.
But they had Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey. Yeah,
they had Derwin James. Bro, you have Pro Bowlers and All Pro guys, and even though Jameis has not played to that level, Jameis still threw 30 tubs and 5,000
yards in an NFL season, a 16-game season at that.
And they were 7-9, so it's not like they were just bottom of the barrel.
Well, that's why Brady came in immediately and won a Super Bowl, because the team
was good.
Yeah,
they had everything, but
they was turnovers killed them in games. So, yeah.
So yeah, man, I think that's a great way to wrap it. Ryan Day, win a natty and then run your mouth all you want, man. But you're born on third base, did not hit a triple. But you know what? If you score, you score. That's all that matters. But unfortunately, you've been sitting on third base for 5-6 years.
And Ohio State's only going to have but so many outs that they're going to allow before you need to probably try and steal home. And if you don't, you'll probably get thrown out anyways, but game over, buddy. Game over.
Yep. All right, man. That's the show. Great talking with you, Parlay Pete. Look forward to hearing about London on next week's show. Hopefully those birds rise up and we have a great flight back, whereas Jacksonville will be there for another week because the NFL is prepping to move them over there.
Wouldn't surprise me one bit. I will, of course, be documenting it, and certainly, even though I don't put everything out for the group, not for the group, but for like my page in general, I will definitely be sending you guys stuff, and of course, you'll be getting commentary from me, even though we're gonna have like a 6-hour time difference or something.
I'll be up.
Yeah,
I'm a baby.
Yeah.
All right, dog. I'll holler at you next week.
Another great show.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother.
Out of here.